The Bears defense started smacking around the Miami Dolphins today. We break that all down next on the Unbearable Sports Podcast.
I'm going to take the North and never give it back.
So that's a good pick. You get the corner. I got to go bold, right? I got to go bold for this.
Yeah, she's got some nice long
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're out there on YouTube, because we will be going live tonight to break down the Miami Dolphins versus the Chicago Bears and who to watch out for. If you haven't watched one of our preseason shows, we like to just kind of break down everybody to watch out for, because we know now that the starters will not be out there. So just kind of break down into some of those no names. And when you get to the fourth quarter, you'll have some names to be watching out for. But what's going on, Bears fans? It's been a while. I've been out on vacation, so coming back, want to just kind of recap what happened today. But then also, like I said, tonight we'll be going live, our first live show in months. I'm excited to see all y'all out there, but it'll be fun to just kind of break down the Dolphins. But hey, let's get right into it, because first off, like I said, I was out on vacation, but also too, Ben Johnson is going to give a mini vacation to the starters on Sunday. The starters will not be playing, and as Ben Johnson mentioned, most likely will be 9 on offense that will be benched and 9 on defense. So, like I said, we'll break that down tonight. But as we always do, let's first talk about the injuries, because we're talking specifically about today, the Bears versus the Miami Dolphins. And when we talk about the injuries, Big Bill, Andrew Billings went down, but he was able to be back out there. So hopefully nothing serious. But also today, Darnell Wright was back out. Darnell Wright was banged up yesterday, and nice to just see him out there. So nothing super severe with that. But then also too, Kyler Gordon and Jalen Johnson not out there against some of the top wide receivers out there. But did it matter? If we go through the just instant reaction, here's all the different reactions that you have to know for those that are watching out there on YouTube. All you need to know is that Dennis Allen's the man. And what we saw is that Dennis Allen was absolutely ferocious. And one thing too that's going to be cool about this episode, I was actually supposed to be there, but like I said, I was out on vacation, just got back today, so I actually gave those seats over to some people that I know. So I had boots on the ground, looking and reporting back as to what they saw. But man, it was ferocious out there. And I have Omar Kelly quotes out there, he is a beat reporter for Miami. And he kind of jokingly said, it seems like the Dolphins were like, you're not supposed to hit me, right? They were just getting pulverized by this defense. They were flying around, they were hitting, and this defense was great and shook up the Miami Dolphins. So it really was just something that was awesome to see, because we've heard that this defense has been causing the offense troubles, has been getting into Caleb's head, and has been, kind of causing havoc, and they were still doing that. So if we want to just talk about instant reactions, the main reaction is this is what the Bears have been training for. This is what you kind of expect out of this high speed, high intensity types of practice. So all good things out there. But also too, Ben Johnson didn't want any fights, and there was a fight today with that Ben Johnson not happy about, but also the defense of the Miami Dolphins had a fight amongst themselves too. So the other fight that went on, it was a special teams fight, so nothing too major, but Ben Johnson not happy about that. And even Mike McDaniel, the head coach of the Dolphins, jumped in to help break up a potential scrum that was going on. So lots and lots of feistiness out there, but the Bears defense they were the ones that really kind of highlighted everything. So if we want to talk about the hype train that we always do, right? The biggest risers, the biggest group, biggest individual that really kind of showed out today, it's Dennis Allen. I'll just give it to Dennis Allen. He'll be number one, because this is what we were hoping the defense was going to do. And everything that we're seeing, the Miami Dolphins offense was not ready for this Dennis Allen defense. The way that they were hitting, the way that they were playing tight press coverage. And there's a couple reports from Dolphins beat reporters saying these wide receivers don't look like they expected this level of physicality from a defense like this. So great stuff out there, but also too, I have to give some love to Jaquan Brisker. Jaquan Brisker, continues to make plays, continues to be all over the football field. And there was multiple reports of he's just flying. And, my friends out there were saying too, they're like, listen, Brisker's just flying. He's coming up in run defense. He's looking really good. He had a blitz, was able to get a sack, also an interception on 7-on-7s. But also another superstar, another hype train award winner today was Olamide Zaccheaus, the backup, the third string wide receiver, if you believe the depth chart, which we'll talk a little bit about that tonight. But the depth chart doesn't matter too much. Olamide Zaccheaus was just the security blanket for Caleb Williams, right? It's we always reference the Mike Tyson quote, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And what we saw was that when bullets were flying and he needed to get the ball out, Olamide Zaccheaus was someone Caleb was easily able to find. And also he broke out a 70-yard touchdown run, touchdown catch, but was able to kind of run after the catch. And very consistent. He had one drop, but also had a one-handed grab that was really good. Just overall great day for Olamide Zaccheaus. So, who are the people that win the reality check award, right? Who kind of knocks things down? Well, first off, I want to just start out that the first pass was intercepted by Caleb Williams' pass was intercepted. Obviously, that is a big reality check because we're like, all right, what are we going to do? Interception. All the trolls online, because while I'm out on vacation, I was watching a little ESPN and NFL Network. I kept seeing everybody saying, like, the national media being like, is Caleb Williams finished, right? Is he already done? And it's like, whoa. Like, why are we freaking out about that? Because he was missing a net, right? There's all this craziness that was going on. But what like the whole reality check was just, you see that first interception. But after that, you saw him do significantly better and continue to look good. Now, we'll break down his performance a little bit more, but that was just one of the little reality checks. Also, too, the defense, the Miami defense won in the red zone, so it wasn't a great red zone period for the Bears at the end of the day. And also, if we really want to get technical, Zach Wilson looked great against the second team defense. So, second team defense in red zone drills. So, if you really want that, I'm pulling deep in the bag for the reality check award. But I'm done with that. Let's keep on moving and let's talk about this offense. So, I got the notes from my friends that went, and this is their first time seeing what was going on. And number one thing was Luther Burden. They said Luther Burden, bigger role than expected when they were out there. They thought a smaller role. They were really impressed with how much Luther was getting touches. Also, too, I don't want to say too much about this, but lots of running back snaps with DJ Moore or with other people, wide receivers. So just a lot of what can they do with these with these wide receivers, kind of getting end arounds and other things like that. All stuff that you expect with Ben Johnson. Now I have more details, but I'm not going to share those because I feel like that's why they were a little bit more secretive about some of those pieces. But two, the other piece was they said that there's a lot of reps where DJ was actually playing the running back role. Now this might be because they didn't want Swift out there and they wanted to see DJ get some real actual reps. It seems like they're really leaning into this DJ Moore being a weapon that they can use everywhere because, hey, we talked about Olamide Zaccheaus, Luther Burden. We talked about the larger role. If you have Burden and you have all these great weapons, Colston Loveland, it's maybe smart. You want your best players out there. And hey, if DJ can play a little bit of running back for you, all the better. And like what I've said plenty of times on this show, I'm still not bought into the whole thing that Ben actually wants Swift to be the running back. Doesn't mean Swift's not going to be good. It just means that, hey, I want something better. And we'll talk about the running backs a little bit later. But other little notes that my friend had, so DJ Moore, different snaps, reverses, so a little trickeration. He really liked how Ozzie looked against the twos out there. And also, another one of my friends said they were moving Colston Loveland a lot. And the exact quote, Colston Loveland is the real thing. So awesome to hear, right? They're not super mega talented, admirer. They're not talent evaluators, but they're fans. And it's just nice to see like, hey, Colston Loveland, looks like the real thing, and just getting some fresh eyes on what was going on. But turning the page on the friends notes, overall, like scouring the internet, the wide receivers look good. Right now, this is a quote that I'm pulling up on YouTube from David saying that the Bears receivers whipped Dolphins cornerbacks on one-on-ones. Most of the incompletions were flags. So overall, Bears receivers whipping Dolphins cornerbacks. Dolphins do not have the best cornerback room out there, so it's nice to see the receivers playing well. Now, also diving a little bit deeper into what Caleb looked like. Caleb did have an up and down day. Now, it's not saying that he's awful or great or anything like that, right? You expect that, but there's other pieces that you still want to see get better, right? And I've never kind of shied away from this. Caleb needs to continue to look better, but he doesn't look like a bust or anything awful by any stretch of the imagination, right? He looks solid. Now, some of the downs, if for those that are curious, there's a couple delayed games that were sprinkled around there, held onto the ball a long time, and I was looking to a lot of the Dolphins beat reporters because this was their first time looking at Caleb Williams. And one mentioned Caleb held the ball too long and was forced to throw short passes in 7-on-7s. That's not a great look, especially when you have a beat reporter kind of talking about that. Yet again, doesn't mean it's the end of the world. I'm just simply saying what's out there. There's still progress that Caleb needs to make in order to look better. And, that's kind of what you expect. But still, yeah, it just seemed like there's a lot of holding the ball, not getting the operation out quick enough, and also just a couple little missed targets. So not the best day, but not the worst day either. Some good throws that were sprinkled in out there as well. Other little offensive pieces too. Kyle Monangai, right? We were talking about the running backs. Kyle Monangai got reps with the ones and even had to take on a block from Bradley Chubb. And all reports saying it wasn't bad. It was actually a pretty good block that Monangai had on Bradley Chubb. Now, Chubb eventually was getting to Caleb Williams because Caleb was holding onto the ball a little bit too long. You don't expect Kyle Monangai to pick up Bradley Chubb and keep Bradley Chubb for that long, but it's nice to see that pass protection that we saw in college kind of translate to the NFL on a good rep, right? One rep that we're talking about. Other pieces too, Colson Loveland, long touchdown catch. And like we've said too, just looks the part, looks great. And if we're talking about the offensive linemen, like my friend said, really liked what he saw from Ozzie with the twos. But then Braxton, Ozzie, and even Theo Benedett getting some reps at the left tackle spot. Now, we'll talk about this tonight on Who to Watch. The offensive line that we learned from Ben Johnson will be rotating that left tackle spot throughout the game on Sunday. So definitely something that we will be watching. So now, let's go over to the defensive side of the ball because the defense was strong. This is a tweet from Joe Shad, who covers the Miami Dolphins. And Tua actually had 3 interceptions. Madison had 2 fumbles. And also the O-line, according to Shad, looked very inconsistent. So nice to know that the Bears defense, because that was my biggest question, was how does this defensive line look against this offensive line? And so far, everyone's saying Bears were looking pretty darn dominant out there. Now, some of my, the friends' notes, we have Tremaine Edmonds is a monster. Was the first title of it was Tremaine Edmonds is a monster. Kevin Byard is a big vocal leader. He's said that you can really kind of hear him out there and see him out there. Edwards, very smart in pass coverage. And multiple comments from my friends about Dominique Robinson looking quick out there. Now, Dominique Robinson, we want to see him every single down to see what he looks like. We already know that he's a quick guy, but nice to see him get some shout outs. Also, Ruben Hippolyte getting some love. Supposedly he had some first team snaps. So then also too, I heard that Noah Sewell broke up at a tackle as well. Other things too, right? There's a negative. One of my friends said not impressed with Dio at all. So some Dio Adengbo hate out there a little bit. I don't think that he's going to be out there on Sunday. I want to see him out there, but when you have that much money invested with him, right? The Dio love just has not been there this training camp. Also, Booker getting some love, saying that he looks bigger than expected. Also pancaked one Jermaine Ifedi on one of the drills. Also, we have Terrell Smith is better than Tyreek Stevenson, I got in a message. And also, Dexter is full speed all the time. So, good stuff right there from some of my friends. But as we kind of continue going through here, just overall, Miami was just frustrated. People were saying that the coverage was very, very sticky. And that became very, very difficult for them. Nahshon Wright almost had 2 interceptions on the day, so looked pretty good. Also, if we're talking about the coverage, Tyreek Stevenson, from what I was reading, had an up and down day. So some plays, he tipped a pass that went over to Kevin Byard. But also, too, there was a couple snaps where Jalen Waddle was absolutely torching him. Now, when you look at Terrell Smith, multiple pass breakups in 11-on-11s. Also, my friend saying that he really liked what he saw from Terrell Smith. And this just goes back to us saying Terrell Smith is just, you know what you're going to get from him. He's a good player. Tyreek has that up and down. It just depends on what exactly they want. It just continues to kind of look that way as we watch what's going on with this Bears team. Other things too, Power Eccles the linebacker had a forced fumble and also recovered the fumble. Montez Sweat was charted with 2 sacks. One of those was actually on a stunt, so not necessarily him beating his guy. Then also too, just kind of going through, Tremaine Edmonds interception, pick 6 to end the practice. And going back with the defensive line, Gervon Dexter looking almost unblockable in one-on-ones, and also had a tackle for a loss. So some Gervon Dexter love. Dio did have a sack or knocked over the left tackle, Patrick Paul. So there's at least that. But yeah, yet again, Dio, you'd want to see a little bit more out of that. That's from what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing. But obviously we'll see when the games actually start. But it's great to see that the defense is looking pretty darn good. And just to kind of wrap up the show, couple other little miscellaneous nuggets. So special teams, like we said, there was a fight that the Bears had with the Dolphins. Also, Courtney Cronin was in awe of Tory Taylor, saying that in her estimation, he just boomed it around 85 to 90 yards. I don't know if it was on the bounce. My guess is it was probably on the bounce going that far. But great stuff from Tory Taylor, as we all know. Also, too, Miami broke contain, and it sounds like there would have been a punt return touchdown from the Bears' perspective. So good stuff there. I don't know if it was Duvernay. No one really kind of pointed that out, but it seemed to be something that the Miami beat reporters were all over the place. Like they were very, very locked in with what was going on. And also, yeah, very critical of their special teams unit. But also being critical, the Bears had a punt that was blocked. And last but not least, Mike McDaniel shoved Grady Jarrett. So you love to see it. Shoved Grady Jarrett, just a playful shove, playful, toying around. Because also I heard too, Grady Jarrett, you just hear his voice. You see the leaders. This is why when you add veterans, it's not just adding somebody that knows how to do it. It's adding true leaders. Like I said, my friend saying Kevin Byard, and also kind of called out Grady Jarrett too. You can see that they're leaders that are when they're out there. So great stuff from the Bears. And honestly, yeah, Caleb didn't have a great day, but this is not what you don't need him to be perfect, right? You expect him to just continue to go, continue working in the right direction. And yeah, and then everyone else, you can have a good run, good run game, good defense, everything will be better. Do I want Caleb to be better? Yeah, of course. I mean, everybody does, but we'll have everything covered for you. I am now officially back from vacation. Lots of great things that are going to be happening to this show, so stay tuned. So make sure to hit that like button, subscribe out there on YouTube, and also rate that show 5 stars everywhere that you get your podcast. I'll see you all tonight in Unbearable Sports Podcast. We are out.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair, and you know that she's a